Better to die as a hero than to live as cowards. This is for you, Mr. President. He refused to bow down to them. He refused to accept their ideology. He refused to travel abroad, but rather to save Tanzanians. He loved Tanzania. He loved Africa. He kept God first in everything. He never missed a worship service. He reduced his own salary to save his people. He was a godly man. Before he died, he prayed for all the doctors in the room. He saw it coming, but that didn't stop him. He kept going and doing what is right in the eyes of God. He wasn't a perfect man, but Tanzania is a better place right now than ever before. He walked the talk, he fought the good fight, he finished the race, he kept the faith. Dear Western media, I tend to oversleep on Saturdays as my weeks are normally very, very long. So I woke up to my young cousin and Damando sitting in front of the telly watching the sending off of our dear president. I watched as his motorcade rode down the roads of Dar es Salaam. Wailing women and men tore off their kangas and t-shirts and laid them on the roads with the motorcades riding on them. People stood along the roads holding up banners that expressed what Magufuli was to them, and they were all full of love and admiration. Wananchi are wailing with the heaviest heart. This man was loved. Western media. Did he make mistakes? Oh yes, he did, plenty. He was not an angel after all. Not too, he was very flawed. But he stood for the people of Tanzania from the get-go. For the common Mwananchi, the one who hardly ever has a voice. In fact, he used to say over and over again that he is the president of the poor. When Magufuli did not lock down the country, he was thinking of his people, the common Mwananchi. Magufuli did not want us to come to you with kept hands as it is always expected by you. He wanted his people to stand on their feet with pride. He wanted his people to stop being neo-colonized. Not shutting down the economy of Tanzania drove the country to become a leading economy. We know the Western world did not like him. Of course, how could you have felt anything good for one who was always against you? One who wanted to give Africa back her voice and strength? Magufuli worked hard at stopping the agenda of colonial exploitation of Tanzanians' wealth. He worked hard to build infrastructure that could be used by Tanzania so we can start successfully among ourselves and Africa as a whole without the hindrance of unreliable roads. Utilizing the natural resources that Tanzania has, Magufuli was able to develop Tanzania from a third world country into a middle class economy within just a short period of time. If I was your shoes, I most probably would have hated him too. Understandably, as the Western world simply cannot be without exploiting Africa. Let me tell you more. Magufuli was God-fearing. He was diligent. He was morally courageous. He had progressive vision. He has principle-centered vision. Magufuli demonstrated a selfless and people-driven leadership that continues to inspire the Mwananchi. Magufuli was one of the few leaders that believed in his continent abilities. He despised and acted against corruption. He chose to be a true African statesman. Magufuli loved his country with a passion. Magufuli loved his continent. He was so proud of his continent that he was ready to die for it. Not everybody liked him, and he was not without his critics. This is simply the way of the world, and not everything he did was agreeable. Again, it is the way of the world. Like the opposition parties, which naturally would, as it is the job for an opposer in believing that they can do better. Is that not their job? Just like a mistress will oppose the wife, it comes with a job description. I agree that in some instances he could have done better, but the right that he did has been strongly felt. I am now watching as Mwananchi are bidding farewell to a fallen giant, and Tanzania is wailing. Western media. The national stadium is filled to the brim. as it was earlier this morning at the St. Peter's Church, where a mass had been held for him. Tanzania is crying because we know what we have. Having said this, I have a question for you, Western media. With your world being so full of faults and ugliness, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? I humbly ask that. You use that energy you have on Africa on your planks. Tanzanians, let us be like Magufuli. Let us all stand for truth, moral courageous, and emotional fortitude. For this is the best way to stand up to bullies. As the dear auntie says, let us continue loving Africa and standing for Africa. Lala Salama, Baba Magufuli. Lala Salama, a great son of the soul. We thank you for your leadership. We celebrate you, Baba. Tanzanians, God heard our prayers, and He will not be silent. He will not be silent. He has been there before Magufuli. He has been there during Magufuli, and He is gonna continue to be there even right now. Mark my words.
Lakini ninajua Watanzania wananipenda pamoja na ninyi. Ninajua ninayoyafanya ni kwa maslahi mapana ya Watanzania, hasa Watanzania maskini. Kwa hiyo ndugu zangu, tuendelee kuchapa kazi, tuendelee kumtanguliza Mungu mbele, kila mmoja kwa imani yake, lakini tujenge Tanzania yetu. Mimi ni mtumishi wenu, na nataka niwaambie ndugu zangu, siku moja mtanikumbuka. Na mimi ninajua mtanikumbuka kwa mazuri, si kwa mabaya, kwa sababu nimesacrifice maisha yangu kwa ajili ya Watanzania maskini. Kwa hiyo tusimame pamoja, tusibaguane kwa vyama, tusibaguane kwa ajili ya dini zetu, tusibaguane hata kwa makabila yetu. Sisi tuijenge Tanzania.